In this video, I'm going to be talking about why al-Waqadi is not reliable and why when the Tafsir talks about Hadith or stories about Prophet Muhammad, they're not reliable. So I'll just get to it. So the reason why I'm talking about al-Waqadi is because in the previous video, I didn't mention the critics of al-Waqadi or the Muslim scholars who condemned al-Waqadi and things like that. So why is this important? Why is al-Waqadi even being brought up? Is because al-Waqadi was the person who narrated the satanic verses, was the first person who narrated the satanic verses. Al-Waqidi is the person who narrated the so-called the Prophet Muhammad executing the Meccan 10 and things like that. So a lot of the critics who complain about the Prophet Muhammad point the finger and say Prophet Muhammad did the satanic verses, Prophet Muhammad ordered 10 people to be killed in Mecca. They're quoting al-Waqidi, and I'm going to be saying why al-Waqidi is not reliable. So basically, al-Waqidi had several critics, critics like Imam Shafi'i, Ahmed ibn Hanbal, al-Nisa, etc., etc. So I'll just read. I'll read what 5 scholars said about al-Waqidi. Imam Shafi'i said that all the books of al-Waqidi are lies. In Madinah, there were 7 men who were fabricator authorities. One of which was al-Waqidi. Imam Shafi'i is a very important early Muslim scholar. The next scholar is a early Hadith scholar, Ahmed ibn Hanbal. He said al-Waqidi is a liar, makes alterations in traditions. Al-Nisa, who's a early Hadith scholar as well, said the liars for fabricating the Hadith of the Messenger of Allah or Muhammad are 4. They are Abarah bin Abi Yahya in Madinah, al-Waqidi in Baghdad, Muqatil ibn Sulayman in Khurasan, and Muhammad bin Said in Syria. So one of my viewers asked about Muqatil ibn Sulayman. Well, according to al-Nisa, a early Hadith scholar, Muqatil ibn Sulayman was a known liar for fabricating Hadith about Muhammad. So Muqatil ibn Sulayman is not reliable, as well as al-Waqidi is not reliable. Al-Bukhari, Sahih al-Bukhari, who wrote Sahih al-Bukhari, the most authentic Hadith book ever, says al-Waqidi has been abandoned in Hadith. He fabricates Hadith. So this is Bukhari saying these things. And finally, al-Dhahabi says consensus has taken place on the weakness of al-Waqidi. And al-Dhahabi was a Hadith scholar, a classical Hadith scholar. So basically, there are many other scholars who detested or have said that al-Waqidi is not reliable and stuff like that. But I think these will suffice for now. But the consent, basically, all Muslim scholars have said that al-Waqidi is a liar, his books are fabrications, etc., etc. So Ibn Sa'd incorporated a lot of traditions in al-Waqidi that automatically makes Ibn Sa'd unreliable, and al-Tabari would quote from al-Waqidi here and there, so that makes al-Tabari's narrations that have al-Waqidi in the chain to be not authentic. So what about the Tafsirs? Tafsirs sometimes have traditions about the Prophet Muhammad, or they have Hadith and things like that. So basically, the Tafsirs are basically commentaries on the Quran. The most famous Tafsirs would be Tafsir al-Tabari, Tafsir al-Qurtubi, and Tafsir ibn Kathir. And these Tafsirs do have explanations as to why certain Quranic verses were revealed, and they explain certain Quranic verses and things like that. So basically, when the Tafsirs have Hadith or actions and sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, usually those traditions are fabricated, or they're weak, or they're false. For example, in Fazil al-Qadeer, Volume 1, page 27, Ibn Kamal said that the Tafsir books are filled with fabricated traditions, and I'll be posting all the references below. Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti, in his book al-Itqan, Volume 2, page 471, has said that Ahmed ibn Hanbal, who again was a Hadith scholar, said regarding the books of Tafsir, Ahmed ibn Hanbal said 3 things are unreliable: Tafsir, epics and battles, which is Sirah or stories, or Magazi. Magazi means war campaigns. because most of them are narrated through disconnected chains. So basically, Ahmed ibn Hanbal is saying that the hadith found in the tafsirs are false because they have disconnected chains. And again, this is found in Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti in his books Al-Itqan, Volume 2, page 471. So I hope this clears up, the misconceptions about the reliability of al-Waqidi and the Tafsir books. So that's why I don't quote al-Waqidi, or I don't quote Tafsir books when it comes to hadith and things like that, because because that's a good thing about Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir only quoted from people like Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, etc., etc. He wouldn't quote people like al-Waqidi and Muqatil and Sulayman in his Tafsir books, that talked about the Prophet Muhammad. Stay tuned, a lot more videos are up ahead.